Hello, welcome back to Every Problem. This is Stewart, Calculus, Section 1.1, Problem 33. Now, this problem can be a little bit tricky just because of the square root or cubed root that we see. This problem asks us to find the domain of this function f of t equals the cubed root of 2t minus 1. Okay, well, when it asks to find the domain, it's basically asking for what x values is there a solution to your function. So they're asking, basically in layman's terms, right, what x value can you plug in and get some normal looking answer? Well, normally, anytime we have a square root, you can say, oh, well, all positive numbers. Because we all know that you can't really have negatives under the square root, right? But it's a little bit different when we have a cubed root. And the reason that's different is because you can have negative numbers under a cubed root. For example, if we were taking the cubed root of negative 8, that is equal to negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, right? The first negative 2 times negative 2, that will cancel out, and you'll get, well, the negatives will cancel each other out, and you'll get 4. But then, when you multiply 4 by negative 2, you will get a negative 8. So whenever you have odd powers with your roots, right, whether it's a third root or a fifth root or a seventh root, anytime it's an odd power, you can have a negative number underneath the radical. And so, with that said, because there's no fraction in this problem, really, there's no numerator, denominator, it's just a simple cubed root of 2t minus 1, well, if it's okay to have both positive numbers and negative numbers underneath this radical, because of the 3 here, then really it's just going to be all real numbers for our domain. You could use any number, and that will be a perfectly suitable domain. And so to write that, we'll write domain, and the domain is going to be equal to open brackets, negative infinity, and all the way up to positive infinity. The reason for the open brackets is because we can't cut off infinity at any sort of point, right? It keeps going and going and going. And so technically, we can't have a closed infinity and say, at this point, it's infinity. And that's going to be our answer for this problem. So the domain of the cubed root of 2t minus 1 is pretty much all real numbers, just negative infinity to positive infinity.